How are you doing? How's your day going?
I'm doing great, Sergio. Just got done training. Gotta stay in shape. Gotta stay ready. Who knows? Bellator might need a late replacement, or the UFC might need a late replacement. I'm a free agent, so whoever wants me, come get me.
How has training been throughout the pandemic? Obviously, things have been shut down. I'm up in Canada, so things here still haven't really fully opened up yet. So, how has your training been throughout the entire pandemic?
Um, Very careful and cautious. I run a lot, so I'm staying in shape. The gym just started opening up slowly. Excuse me. So training's been really good. I'm able to still train at the highest level with my teammates and my coaches, and still perform as if I haven't took a break from
I'd
the
like to I'd like to kind of start talking about your MMA journey. Like, how'd you get involved in the sport? As someone up in Canada, it's not really big here. Wrestling isn't huge in high school. So
right.
it's always nice to hear about how people got involved in the sport of MMA.
Well, back in 2013, I was living with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and I had no job. I mean, I lost my job pretty much, so I was always going 24-hour fitness just to work out. A guy approached me. His name was James Hardman. He was like, "Hey, I noticed you go to 24-hour fitness. I've been seeing you. You seem like you're dedicated and you've been consistent. Have you ever thought about doing MMA?" I'm like, "What's that? Never even heard it." He's like, "Oh, it's, mixed martial arts. Come by my gym, take a look. It's like it's self-defense. Come by. I'll show you." So, okay, I'll check him out. So I come by Monday. He showed me MMA, like, oh, UFC, like Rampage, Antonio McKee, um, John Jones, Conor McGregor. So he shows me all these people. I'm like, oh, then he checked me out on Bellator. He shows me Bellator, Will Brooks versus Michael Chandler, stuff like that. I'm like, man, I can't compete at this level. These guys are too good. So he's like, hey, just try it for 2 weeks. Who knows? You might like it. So I go ahead and try it. First 2 weeks, I'm actually doing good. I'm just going off pure athleticism.
Yeah.
So then after the 2 weeks, he's like, hey, I noticed you're doing good. You ever thought about fighting in a cage? Amateur. I'm like, I never even thought about it, but, it'll probably look cool with me fighting in front of a bunch of girls trying to get fighting. But I never thought I was going to be pro. So after the first 2 weeks of training, he's like, hey, I got you a fight. Let's do it. I'm like, what? After 2 weeks of my first time trying, he got me a fight the next week in Reno, called Reno Ultimate Combat. I believe so. I fought this wrestler, knocked him out in like the second round. And I was like, man, this might be the sport for me. So then that's how it pretty much all started from that right there.
What was the reason for the long amateur career? I mean, you spent a long time in the amateurs before you made that pro debut. What was the reason for spending so much time down there?
Maturity. I didn't know. I didn't know if I was going to do this long term. I didn't know I was going to be a pro fighter. I didn't know. Like, I just fought just to fight. It was exciting, but I didn't have a team at the time. And all of a sudden, poof, get a call. Hey, a friend of mine knows Jane who wants to have you fight for Bellator. Cool. I'm down. Let's try it. You know what I'm saying? My first pro fight for Bellator. So I lost that, but remind you, I didn't have a corner.
Yeah.
So I fought a guy who was like 5-1 in my debut. So then me and my girl broke up in 2015. I was spiraling out of control. I had no job, no car, lost it all. I met Antonio McKee through via Facebook, and we talked. He's like, hey man, I got a fighter home. If you want to fight, you're welcome to come down here. We got a fighter home where you can stay with us and train, live with us. Come on down, homie. So I packed up all my stuff, literally had nothing, moved out there with Antonio McKee, lived with him in the house. I didn't have a job, so his son AJ McKee ended up giving me a job as a stripper at a strip club that he was he was a security guard at. So from there, that's when I joined Team Bodyshop, and the rest was like history. At the time, we had Emmanuel Newton, we had Bubba Jenkins with us, so I got to learn from those vets. And time flies, and this is where I'm at now. 7 fights in my career, 13 fights. No. Yeah. About 12 fights in my career on a 5-fight win streak, and I'm ready to make some noise, bust some asses. A lot of people who fight in the amateur circuits, they don't really go pro.
I love how vocal you are on Twitter and on social media about being ready to fight. You're like, I want to fight so-and-so. I want to fight. Call me. I'm always available. A lot of people talk the talk. Are you really ready for a call if it were to come in, and how soon of a turnaround would you be willing to take?
Give me about a month or 3 weeks to a month. Let's go. I walk around at 180 now. I fight at 45. I fight at 55. Let me get down to 160. I'm ready to go. But if you want me to fight at 155, a week later, okay, I need to start cutting weight now. I'll make it, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight. Just need to cut the weight. I'm already in fight condition. I just need to cut weight.
Now is probably the best time. I mean, you're seeing guys get opportunities, even guys who you'd think, it's like, are you really UFC caliber? Sometimes it just seems like they're signing guys left, right, and center because they need fighters. I think now is the best time to really just kind of stay in shape, stay ready. Is that kind of the reason why you're like out there being vocal, just in case one of these opportunities slide into place?
Well, Sergio, everybody knows the pretty boy. He's known for loud mouth, big talk, and he backs it up. I backed it up 5 fights in a row. I'm not a fighter. I'm an entertainer. A fighter is just stuck to one vision. Fight. That's all he knows. An entertainer does it all. Fighting, acting, singing, modeling, dancing, promoting. Be able to do it all. If you say, I'm a musician, but I do the guitar on it. Okay, I'm a musician, but I do every instrument. You're more valuable than the guy who plays the drums. Okay, how good are you with the piano? How good are you with the vocals? How good are you with the drums? So I'm excellent on all of them. You become a more valuable asset to that company. And I'm ready to go. I'm vocal on Twitter a lot because that's just who I am as a person. I'm on a 5-fight win streak for a reason because I back it up. I fought for the biggest organizations in the world besides the UFC and Cage Warriors and won championship, and I won on all the circuits. I fought in Combate, I won. I fought up in Bama and UK and hostile territory twice, I won them both. I fought for Bellator, I won them both. You're not going to be able to stick me in the Contender Series. Why? Contender Series are pretty much for nobodies who's just coming out the woodwork. Me, I'm a seasoned veteran. I'm known. People know who I am. Most people who are UFC fans might not know who I am, but the Bellator fans definitely know who I am. So I transitioned into the UFC. I become a bigger household name. The flamboyant rated R superstar, Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor.
I love it, man. I like that. I find a lot of people nowadays, especially in the UFC, are really just kind of not really calling their shots, not really picking anybody else, just doing it respectfully. And I think guys like Conor McGregor, guys like Colby Covington are really kind of setting precedent for what needs to be done. And I think you're a great example there as well, saying it's more to this than just being a fighter. You have to be marketable. You have to sell yourself. I guess what's your message for guys who are coming up, who may be, not getting the opportunities they need? How can they be marketable? How can they sell themselves, whether it be on social media, interviews? What would you tell them to do to really get their names out there?
Engage with your fans, especially on Twitter, Instagram. Engage, because when you engage and you give people knowledge, they're like, oh man, who's this guy? He's a fighter? Oh wow. He seems cool. Let me follow him. Let me like his pictures. Same thing goes for your Twitter. You gotta engage the fans. You gotta give them what they want. Without the fans, you're broke. MMA fighting is the brokest sport, the brokest major sport there is. Nobody in a roster. When you think about the MLB, you know, hockey, National Hockey League, yep. NBA, the NFL, soccer. When you say, okay, your minimum contract is $300,000 to $500,000 a year, you're the 12th man on the NBA team. You're the 12th man. You play 0 minutes, but you still get your base. Or you're the 53rd or 54th player on a football team. You get no ball. You get no run. But we're going to give you your minimum $300,000. Look at MMA. They don't do that. You know, you look at the growth of it, but there's no liability backed up on what's worth of the fighters. There's guys who's fighting for so many years. I mean, you can't blame John Jones. Yep. John Jones been fighting since he was young. You know, he's been undefeated for so many years. That DQ doesn't count. But imagine if John Jones went to WWE.
Yeah.
He'll become a bigger name, more of a household name, a bigger star in WWE. He'll be a bigger star, period, than he would in MMA. Imagine if Conor McGregor transitioned over to WWE.
Yeah.
You know, so people got when you're starting off and you want to get known, you got to engage with your Twitter fans. I do it all the time. I engage with celebrities. You know, they like my posts. Yeah, you know, I engage with other UFC fighters. I engage with Mick and Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard. I let them know that who I am. That, okay, who's this guy with the present? He's not signed with nobody, but I see that he has a Bellator. Okay, is he signed with Bellator? No. But I make that present to be known, like, this is who I am. I talk shit. I make it happen. Call me if you need me.
Yeah, I think that's a great message there, especially for people coming on the upswing. They really need to make themselves known. And nowadays, fighting on the regional circuit isn't enough. You have to be vocal. You have to get out there, do interviews, talk to fans, like you said, and really just make sure that people are noticing you.
Did you see the Contender Series yesterday?
Yeah, I watched it.
So, you seen that guy? You know that one guy that was just outstanding that everybody's been talking about?
Yeah.
Remember Mikey Gonzalez that fought yesterday? He lost. Me and Mikey Gonzalez had a big Instagram war. You know, we talked about fighting, but I was going to get paid. Bellator gonna pay me what, $2,500 just to fight you, and I've been fighting longer than you. Like, come on. So he gets his chance to go to UFC. He lost the chance. How ready are you? You know, he broke in that fight. Not to talk bad about the guy. Props for him going in there on short day notice, but he broke. He broke down. He lost the mentality. Yeah. And this fight, this is going to break you. And the reason why a lot of these fighters give up in the fight is they've never been broken before. They kick everybody's ass, or supposedly the people that they kick their asses. A lot of these guys that they're fighting is fighting on regional shows where they're fighting guys who are 0-4, 1-5, 1-6, 2-7. You know what I'm saying? You dominate those guys, but then when you fight a guy who's like 10-1, you're like, oh shit, I just got my hand to you. It's different. And now this has nothing to do with Mikey Gonzalez. I'm just saying just people in general.
Yeah.
You know, because he went in there and he performed as a warrior, just like everybody on that roster did. You know, so it's about how prepared are you mentally. If you're there mentally, you be ready.
You've talked about being an entertainer, not just a fighter. Right now, it's a really weird time because the people you're trying to entertain are the fans, and they can't even be in the arena. As someone who, feeds off the crowd's energy, wants to perform for the crowd, what's it like for you? Obviously, I'm sure you'd like to get back in the octagon, but I'm sure at the same or octagon or cage, whatever it happens to be. But I'm also sure you'd love to do it in front of a sold-out arena, not an empty arena. So, what does that do for you? I mean, are you going to sit this out? Are you going to wait? Or are you just going to get back in there? And how do you make up for the fact that the arena is empty?
It does. I look at it like this, right, Sergio? Everybody's fought once in their hometown, in their amateur pro circuit, right?
Yep.
I never did once. I never once fought. I'm from the Bay Area. Alameda is where I'm from. Oakland Arena is my spot. I've always had to fight someone from San Jose in their city. Amateurs, I had to fight in Sacramento, Stockton, Fresno, Visalia, LA. I have to go as a pro to Budapest, to Ireland, to England. I had to fight people in their backyard. Do you think me fighting without a crowd is going to change any of that? I'm used to playing the Triple H role, being the bad guy, being booed. Hey, better off without you fans booing me. Let me just focus on my guy. I don't need your boos, because every time I'm fighting someone, I'm fighting the hometown guy. It doesn't bother me. You know, I'm used to that. I'm okay with that. You know, fans are not, but when I do come out with the fans, the best believe they will love me at the end of the night. Simple.
So there's a big fight coming up in a couple of weeks. Arguably the biggest fight of the year, in my opinion, the biggest fight of the year, and one of the biggest maybe of all time, in DC versus Stipe 3. What's your thoughts on it? Who do you think is going to win it?
DC is going to dominate him unanimously. Because why? He's going to wrestle. He's just going to wrestle. He's not going to make this mistake. Go off in the career in sunset and win with a win. Doesn't matter how you get the win. Retire. You're good. You know? I trained with DC twice. A couple times. Good guy. Funny stand-up guy. You know? He's a really cool guy. And just overall, like, man, he deserves. He's put in that work. You know, he's put in his dues. He's done what he's done, and he's ready. You know, I give him the unanimous decision. I'm not gonna say it's a TKO or a split. I give him a unanimous because he's going to use his wrestling to get it done.
So I'll ask you a couple more questions, and I'll let you go. I'll ask one MMA one, one non-MMA one. So the first one is, the platform I built in MMA was kind of built based on making matchups after fight. So I'd do, like, after a fight, I'd be like, Jim Miller should fight so-and-so. Is there one person, whether it be in MMA or outside of MMA, who you would die to fight?
That's definitely Nate Diaz. Me and him have a bad feud together. We don't like each other. Bad blood between us two. We see each other on the streets, we going at it. It doesn't matter where we at. Bad blood between us. We both swung at each other at a Bellator event. You know, bad blood.
Where does it stem from?
I think a lot of it was because I beat his teammate Chris Avila at Bellator. I showboated it, rubbed it in their face because I'm a pretty boy. I do what I want and I do what I do. And he got mad, threw a water bottle at me. 6 of his friends ran up on me. He swung at me. I swung at him. No one got hit, but, you know, Bellator staff was in the way to prevent it. And from there on, we just don't like each other.
Last question, man, and then I'll let you go. For MMA fans, for people who are your fans, how do they get a hold of you? Are you active on video games? What sorts of things do you do to stay active outside of MMA?
I'm active on Instagram, Anthony_prettyboy. I'm active on Twitter, very active on Twitter now, Anthony_for_real, and Facebook, Anthony Prettyboy Taylor.
All right, man. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Hopefully I can see you out there sooner rather than later, doing entertaining, man.
Appreciate it, sir. So thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, man. All the best. Stay safe. Keep washing your hands. Don't catch anything, man.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.